Speaking of underdogs, an all hip hop playlist in your restaurant was a risk, but Robert took it. Now, Charlie Bird is recognized as one of the best restaurants in New York City, not just for the wine, but also the vibe. Like, you guys were really disruptors without trying to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were just being yourself, you know, and it just so happened. Like, did you feel like you were doing something revolutionary at that time, or like, was it just like?
Not really. I would say not really. What I was saying is we were trying to be, both Ryan and I were really trying to be authentic. No matter what, like, people smell a fake. Yep. It's fucking New York City. Mm-hmm. You know, people can tell you whether you're full of shit.
Like, they can look, is it a money play? Like, yeah.
You try to like draft something, or you try to like, people know if you're being authentic. Same thing with hip hop. You know, people come in, they're like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what do you want to know? What do you want to know about this track or the next 10 tracks? You know, I'd rather talk about that than wine. So,
exactly.
You know?
Like, now you got my attention. Right. I'm sitting down.
Right. What do you got to do?
Nah, that's real, man. Like, I know, like, for me, I remember leaving Wine Auction and, you know, talking with people about what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. Like, I started doing things the way that I did because, you know, hip hop was the way that I was unique in the industry. You know, my genuine connections and ties in hip hop.
You brought that shit to the auction podium.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You seen that shit? I'm in the public. In the back corner, fucking cheering you on.
Yeah. Yep, I did definitely bring some. But you know, it was shout to Levy Dalton. To be real with you, Levy was the one that told me to embrace that shit more. Yeah, he was like, yo, 100%. He was like, look, you're unique. You're in this space. Who else is like you? Embrace that. Like, people love you. People want to see that. I'm like, yo, you know what? You're right. And I continue to push on that. But
he lives those ethos.
Facts. Yeah, Levy. I like Levy. Yo, we used to hang out a lot, man, in the auction days too. Shout out to him. He was very influential in the creation of wine and hip hop. But like, you know, there was a lot of love, and there was people that were like hating, you know, people that were talking shit behind my back, or like, good on you for fighting a good fight. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, the people literally said that's not going to work. You know, sell wine to rich people, like shit like that. And, you know, I started the podcast because it was the long way in. I wanted to build reverence for wine as a category, so that I could start introducing things of higher quality to people. But yeah, you know, I dealt with my fair share of bullshit. Like, when you like opened the restaurant and you guys were playing hip hop music, did you deal with like a lot of shit, and like, how did you handle that at that time?
You know, admittedly, not well, I have to say. It's funny because there's a couple guys who worked with me now for opened all 3 restaurants. And one guy works with me now at Grand Cru, and he always talks about like the pre-Henry, my son, Robert, and the post-Robert. I'm a fucking hothead. I was a real hothead before my son was born. My first son was born, and I didn't handle it all that well because at the end of the day, it's hard to have someone who has no skin in the game, no investment, no understanding of what it takes to open a restaurant in New York City, let alone be a lifelong industry veteran in this city, to get through and open your own space. How hard that is, how much real effort it takes to get there, to get people to, you convince enough people to give you enough money to open this space. It took a lot, right? And Ryan and I had a really small budget. We did a lot of the work ourselves. We did a lot of demo ourselves. We did a lot of stuff. And so to have someone completely unrelated to that effort think that they have the right to come and tell me what I should do in my own place, it's like kind of coming into your house and be like, no, I don't want to have roast beef tonight. I don't want to have meatloaf. You're like, I don't give a fuck what you want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point you'll be like, you're in my place. Right. And I'm not saying that you have to be in this place, but if you're gonna be in this place, you're gonna have to live with what we're doing. And that's why, like, you know, complete tangent, when people are like, oh, I don't understand the jacket only requirement or the XYZ requirement, like, you're going to someone else's establishment and they're setting the rules, and either you're on board or you're not, and it has nothing to do with whether you're worthy or they're better. You've set up, you're making a statement of what you want to try to accomplish in your little space. This is a small space, and you know, we didn't recreate the world. We had our own little space that we really thought was important to us. And we were going to serve wine that we wanted. Ryan was serving the food he really felt strongly about, how he wanted it to be done. And we tried to deliver the hospitality that really spoke to us. And now, if all those things work, but you didn't like the music, and that was a game changer, that was a deal breaker, we had to let the chips fall where they may. And there's some people who never came back, and we got a lot of nasty Yelp reviews and a lot of bad shit that came our way via email. But at the end of the day, much more positive comments. Many more people come here because of the vibe and the experience and the music. Charlie Bird always about hip hop. That's old school. That's this era I talked about, this late 80s to mid 90s. Because it's what I fell in love with. I was going to spend my most time here. This is my first real restaurant on my own. I really cared about it.